Hey, good morning, everybody, from my 488 class. Hey, I just wanted to check in with you guys and talk about our case analysis. Okay, so you guys have done a really good job. By and large, the second time around had much more detail than the first time around. Had some really high marks in there. I actually had 100, which I rarely ever do. I will post that one out there on the net for you guys to look at. That one hit the mark perfectly, so that was really good work by that particular student. You know, centralization, decentralization, man, we're even talking about it in the strategic planning committees at the university. You know, the decision making for different courses and structure. And look, there is absolutely no one size fits all plan for running any business. Okay, it's the same situation you get when you have I'm just going to say a football team or a baseball team. It really comes down to what employees you have, the level of talent you have, the capability you have, or you want to have, or you plan to have. So the idea, though, is to be as efficient and effective as you can. And we know that decentralization and decentralized decision making gives you that opportunity, okay? The critical point here is that you set it up so that people don't have failure. So you're trying to eliminate the opportunity for failure, and it's got to be a systematic process, systematic training, systematic development of, we'll say, rules and structure, okay? You need to know how far you can take your decision makers, how much line you can give them before they'll, sort of hang themselves. That's the best analogy I've got. So, I mean, I can't give all my product development managers an unlimited budget to go and develop product R&D and seek sourcing and say, hey, just give me the best you can give me and try it out first. Give me beta lines and see what happens. I can't do that. So I have to keep everything in check, okay? This is just one example. So we're developing products and we're developing unique technologies. Everybody has a budget. Everybody has to justify what they're doing with those dollars. Everybody has to justify what the possible rewards are, okay? And so you have to make your decisions based on that. If I was involved in every decision, it would slow it down, okay? Now, at the end of the year, if I look at what we put out on the market or what we're about to put on the market and what the potential is versus what we spent, and it looks like hell, somebody's in trouble, right? So this is kind of how it works. So it's not always going to be a one-to-one, digital type, real-time opportunity to coach and manage. It's kind of analog in a sense. You give your employees enough room to make decisions and you empower them, and then you loop back and you see if they're doing well with that responsibility. Now, the last 10 or 15 years has gotten really difficult because companies have, just all of a sudden focused on profitability and productivity to a point where, they can't even get out of their own way, afraid to make a mistake or not hit an internal rate of return, which is, you just can't run a business quite like that. So the CEO's job is to maximize shareholder value. That doesn't mean maximize shareholders' frickin' profit, all right? So maximizing the value is trying to find those critical break-even points where, you're trying to give your employees the ability to make decisions and mistakes, okay, so that in the long run, what is that long run? 3, 5, 10-year horizons. You're making the most profit you can, okay? Now, what I've seen happen in the short term is that companies get so focused on profit that you can't empower your employees and people are micromanaged. That's not what we want to do. So we want to seek a manner or method to empower employees to make decisions on their own. And ultimately, that's the most growth. So when we're hiring people, we're trying to hire people that we know are going to be A-level players within a 4 to 6 year time. It's no different than when people get drafted for baseball. You don't get drafted for baseball thinking that you're going to actually make it to the MLB in a year or two. This is a 6-year window that you're trying to climb through 3 levels of minor league ball, right? Well, it's kind of the same thing here in the workplace, all right? We're thinking 4 to 5 years that we can get a person to a point where they become, an A player, all right? So that's what we're hoping for when we hire people for a management track, all right? So that's kind of what we're doing. So things that should be centralized are major discounts on orders. We can pile into orders 10%, maybe 15% max. But when we talk about large orders, I came from machinery sales and robotics. We're talking about millions of dollars. And of course, good companies that have leverage want 20 to 30% off. Well, that's really hard to do and actually show good numbers in the end. Because if you guys know your accounting, if I take off 20 to 30% off the top of that job, by the time I get down to a point where I'm going to put money in the bank, and I'm not talking about operating income, so you need to make sure you understand that every dollar below operating income goes to pay for overhead, right? And fixed costs. So by the time I drop money into the bank, if I'm only dropping 2% in, what's the point? Okay, I might as well put my money in the market and vacillate between 7 and 10 every day. So it's important that if we're going to win orders, we're going to win them based on a combination of things, and it can't be just price. All right. Sometimes we will discount down to 30% just to kill a competitor. All right. So it just depends on what the situation is. But that's where a lot of you'll see, like in the case of Sidel and actually Apex too, you're going to see that they operate on multiple shores, and they want to be able to make those financial decisions right then and there. And I get that, and that's what we did also in the companies that I worked for. We just knew how far we could take it. All right, so at the end of the day, you're tying people into profit and loss. So they have a target income of $100,000 or $150,000, let's say, and we're putting 30 to 50% of that at risk. All right, so they got to perform. Okay, so all right, looking forward, we've got Saturn coming up. What an excellent opportunity for you guys to jump in and learn about a car company that I think may make a comeback. I'm still pretty well connected to automotive. I'll be at GM next week. I'm going to find out for sure. But I think these guys are thinking about bringing that Saturn brand back. Can you dig that? Saturn was kind of for people that wanted no fuss and no BS on a nice car that they could drive. That was like the Honda replica that went forever, and it was no fuss, no BS. This is the car I got, bam, and it had tons of customer service wrapped around it. Might come back. What I want you to tell me is what things came out of Saturn down there. I actually visited those plants down in Kentucky. It was really in Tennessee. It was really pretty interesting how they set that up. Read about it. Read it 2 or 3 times. You're going to learn a ton. There's a ton on the internet. Answer the questions I've had out there. I'm going to tell you right now, your final is going to be a take-home final. So your final is going to be like one of these case studies, and it's going to wrap all 3 of these guys together into one problem set. All right? So that's going to be your final. final will not be online. Final will not be multiple choice. All right, so that'll help out. All right, have a good weekend. I'll be in touch with you guys next week.